In the last video, I gave you my top 5 reasons why I think you should be self-hosting your own services. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing one of those services with you, and it's one of the easier services to actually get running on Unraid. And that service is Plex. As with any app there is out there right now, there are going to be two versions. You can either do the free version or you can do the paid version. Now you can also do a lot with the free version, so you don't have to get the paid version. I did pay for a lifetime subscription, and that cost $119, and honestly, it's actually perfect. I love supporting the developers, and I don't know, I just like the app. But what you can do with the free version is you can host your own server, and you are able to view any of the media that's on your server using either the web browser or any of the other non-mobile apps. So if you're not installing it on your iPhone, iPad, or any tablet or cell phone, you'll be able to use that app for free. But also on the free version of Plex, you are able to hook up a compatible TV tuner and an antenna to that tuner and hook it up to your server. That way you're able to watch your local over-the-air channels, TV, and from anywhere in the world. Now, if you do decide to actually pay for a subscription, you get all that stuff that you have in the free version and then some. They call the subscription the Plex Pass, and the Plex Pass costs anywhere from $4.99 a month up to the lifetime subscription of $119. And like I said, I actually have the lifetime subscription, and it's very much worth it. I used to do just the yearly plan, which I believe is like $30 a year, but I mean, I've been using it for close to 5 years now, so upgrading to the lifetime subscription made sense to me. But with the Plex Pass, what you're now able to do, like I said, is you're able to do everything that you can in the free tier, but with the Plex Pass, you're now able to unlock like the DVR function of your Plex server. So not only are you able to connect a TV antenna to your Plex and watch locals, you're now able to utilize the DVR function. So you'd be able to skip ahead or record any of the TV shows that are playing. You also unlock all of the mobile apps. So any of the Android or the iOS apps, you're not having to pay the $5 to unlock the application anymore. All you would have to do is download the app on your phone or your tablet and log in with your username and password, and it will go ahead and unlock that app for you. You're also able to take advantage of hardware accelerated transcoding. Now that is, I would say, one of the best reasons to get the subscription. What that allows you to do is, if any of the media that you're trying to play, say you're trying to play a non-compatible video that's on your server, and you're trying to play it on your phone, and your phone isn't able to play it natively, what your server's going to have to do is use the hardware accelerated transcoding. Your server's going to turn it into something that your device would be able to play, and it will just play that video like as if it was able to natively. Some of the other things that you get access to as well is going to be Plex Amp. Plex Amp is the audio version for Plex. Think of it kind of like Spotify. So you'd have an app just to play all of the music that is on your Plex server. And Plex Dash is another app that you gain access to, and that it's basically like a dashboard of your Plex server that you can view on your phone. You can keep track of who is watching what, and any of the other stats on your server, all through the app. So if all of that sounds good to you, let's get down to it. Hop onto Unraid and let's get Plex installed. Now before we go on, I just wanted to show you on Plex, they actually do have an article describing what the differences are for the free versus paid, or Plex Pass subscription. I'll go ahead and leave a link to this article down below in the description box, so that way you can be a little more informed as to what you can and what you can't do with either tier, either the free tier or the paid tier. All right, now we're on my Plex dashboard here. First thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit click on the Apps tab, and we are going to be searching for Plex. So just go ahead and type Plex and enter. And this will bring up all the different containers that you're able to install your Plex Media Server with. For example, we've got BinHex Plex here, but we also see a BinHex Plex Pass template. The difference between the two is the Plex Pass template actually already has, let's just go into it, already has like some fields that pertain to Plex Pass and you being able to do hardware accelerated transcoding. You've got your transcoding directory here, but as you can see, you've also got a place to put your NVIDIA driver capabilities, or what NVIDIA graphics GPU that you're going to be using, just so that way Plex knows what GPU you're going to use to do your transcoding. It's not only GPUs that you can use, you can also use QuickSync, which is a feature of Intel CPUs, but that's going to be a topic of a different video. If you guys want me to make that video on how you can enable hardware accelerated transcoding, leave a comment down below and maybe I'll go ahead and create a video for it. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and try to install the non Plex Pass version, and I like BinHex's repository, so I think we're going to go ahead and use BinHex. But first, the one thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and create a share for the media that you're going to be putting onto your server. So the way we do that is we go into shares, scroll down, and we're going to go ahead and click on add share, and we're just going to go ahead and call this Plex Media. I like putting the names in lowercase just because, I mean, we're working in Linux. So from there you can either use a cache pool or not. I don't. I just go ahead and put all of the data, just skip the cache pool, or just skip the cache pool and go directly into the array. Some people might be against that, but for my use case, I don't mind. It doesn't have to go into the cache pool. You can pretty much just leave everything else as is and just click on add share. And once that's done, you can go ahead and just click on done. Now what I like to do after creating the share is go into terminal and go into Plex Media. Mount user Plex Media. And from Plex Media, I know I'm going to be having movies, possibly TV shows, and music. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create those directories now in Plex Media. So make dir movies. I'll just put TV and music. And what this is going to do is it's going to create, this is going to go ahead and create those directories. It's going to create movies directory, TV directory, and a music directory, all with just, one command. So press enter. And if I do ls to list out what's in that directory, you can see I've got movies, music, and TV. So that's where we are going to be placing our any of the movies, music, or TV shows. And also, while we're on the topic of putting in your media in those folders, there is a naming convention of how you want to name your files. So I'll go ahead and leave this. I'll go ahead and leave a link to this article right here on Plex, where it has how you're supposed to be naming and organizing all of your movie files, music files, TV shows, and other media. So you're going to want to take a look at that before you upload any of your videos. I mean, you can go ahead and upload them at any time and then just go back and name them according to these naming conventions. However, I will say that Plex is pretty darn good at finding out all of the metadata for any of the movies or TV shows that you do upload, even if they don't follow this naming convention. However, down the road, you might be doing more like media automation, and that's when the naming convention would actually be more beneficial. So, or not beneficial, but more important. So, I mean, might as well just go ahead and do it right the first time, right? So, alright, enough of that. Let's go ahead and install Plex. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the Linux server repository. We're going to use his template, and we're going to go ahead and click on install. I always like using the default, which is usually the latest. And once you're at the template, you're going to want to, you're probably not going to be in advanced view, so let's go ahead and go into basic view. But over here, this is where, if you can see, it says container path for /TV, container path for movies. And what you're going to want to do, what this means is you're going to want to put the path to where your TV files, TV shows are going to be at. So it's going to be mount user Plex Media. And then remember, we went ahead and created those 3 directories, one for movies, one for TV, and one for music. This one's going to be for TV. And we're going to do the same thing for movies. So we're going to go mount user Plex Media movies. We're going to go ahead and leave this as is for Docker. This Plex claim, we're going to go ahead and just leave that blank for now. Alright, and we can just go ahead and hit apply, and this will go ahead and run it. Alright, now that took a little while. Once it says that it was installed successfully, we can go ahead and click on done. And that's pretty much it. So now what you would do to access your Plex server, now I'm going to have to do this in an incognito window because I'm already logged in to my server. So let's go ahead and go in here. Let's open up a new private window. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and enter in the IP address of your server. In my case, it will be 10.0.10.2. And Plex, by default, opens up in port 32400 /web. and it goes into Plex. Okay, now once you get to this screen, you may be seeing something a little different, but if you don't have a Plex account already, you're going to want to go ahead and go back into plex.tv and create an account. But since I already have an account, I'll go ahead and just continue with Apple, because I do have this linked with my Apple ID. Now, there's going to be times where you might come up to this error right here after you've tried logging in. The reason why that this would come up is if the computer that you're on is not on the same subnet on your network. Now, since I've got different subnets in my home network, that's why you would see this. If you don't have any subnets, or if you just have a really simple network, you shouldn't have to see, or you wouldn't see this error, just because you're already going to be in the same network. But to fix this, all you would have to do is go into your network settings and just make sure that your computer is on the same subnet as your server. Once you've put your computer on the same network as your server, you will go ahead and see this screen right here. What you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to go ahead and hit the Got It button down at the bottom. And you're going to go ahead and name your server. Let's go ahead and call this YouTube Plex. And you can actually go ahead and allow access to your server from outside of your home. Like, say if you wanted to go ahead and have any of your friends or family to be able to use or access this server, you'd go ahead and put a check mark on this. There is going to be one other thing that you're going to have to do in order for this to happen, or for other people outside of your home to access your server. You will have to forward the port on your router. You're going to want to forward port 32400 on your router and point it to your Plex server. Now you're going to want to go ahead and consult your documentation, or search for other videos on YouTube for your particular router, because it's just different enough to where you're going to want to do that. But once you've done that, go ahead and click Next. Now the next part is going to be, you're going to finally add your library. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and add a video. Alright, now that file has transferred over, we're going to go ahead and add a library. And we're going to pick a movie. And we're going to name it Movie. You can name this library whatever you want, but I'll go ahead and keep it as Movie. Now we're going to go ahead and add the folder. Now this is the folder where all of your movies are going to be kept. So we're going to go ahead and browse. And we named it, remember, /movies. Well, this is going to be where it's at. So we're going to go into Movies. And if you had other movies in this folder, you'd see them all right here. Right now I only have the one, which is my son's first Taekwondo tournament. So we're going to go ahead and add this. And add library. And that's going to be the only library we're going to put in there. If you have like other things as well, like TV shows or your music, you do the same thing. You go back into add library, choose TV shows or music, and add the folder after that. And then once you've added in all of your libraries, go ahead and click on Next. And you're going to go ahead and click on Done because you're all set. And Plex Media Server is working. So we'll go ahead and click Done. Now this is actually my personal library right now. So we can go to here under YouTube Plex. And it looks like there's a update ready, but we're not going to go ahead and do that right now. So let's go ahead and go back home. And let's go ahead and pin this movie library from YouTube Plex. And there you go. My son's first tournament. Now these are going to be your recommended. You're going to see all your recently added movies here. But if you wanted to see your entire movie library, just go ahead and click on library right here. And then you can go ahead and just play it. And there's my son right there in his first tournament. Really proud of him. I was in martial arts for a while as well, so. But yeah, I'll go ahead and stop it right here. Hey guys, so this is actually the following morning, and I totally forgot to include this in the video, and I'd like to go ahead and touch up on it now. Back in the beginning when we were trying to fill out the template for Plex Media Server in Unraid, we skipped one part. Let me go back in here, and that's going to be this Plex claim field. Now, I went ahead and skipped it just because there is a 4-minute time limit before a token expires. You would actually go into plex.tv/claim, log into your account, and put in a token that gets displayed on your screen in this line. But since it only is good for 4 minutes, we went ahead and skipped that for now. However, this is actually something that you will actually need, especially if you're going to share your server remotely, or if you want to access your Plex server remotely. Because what happens is when you're back in Plex, you'll actually see this, where it says this server is unclaimed and not secure. But if you remember in the beginning when I logged in, it went ahead and actually it did claim the server right after I logged in. However, if it doesn't, you'll actually see this part right here. This server is unclaimed and not secure. So you'll go ahead and just click on claim server. And right after you claim the server, give it a few minutes, or at least a minute or so, until everything gets caught up, and it will actually assign that server to your account. So if you're not already signed into Plex, go ahead and sign in. I believe when you click on that claim server button and you're not signed in, it will actually have you sign in. But in any case, you have to be signed in order to claim that server as yours. Next thing that you're gonna see is this part right here where it says remote access. This is gonna be important in order for you to be able to access your Plex Media Server from outside your home. But you'll also notice that it's got this red exclamation mark. So go ahead and click on that. And up here, it'll actually show you what your public IP address is. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and blur that out during post. But what you're going to want to do is go ahead and just run a speed test also. Like go to speedtest.net, whatever your download or your upload speed is, go ahead and enter that in here. And over here, it'll say, let's go ahead and disable it right now. That way you can see what it looks like. It'll say not available outside your network. So when you click on enable remote access, if you click on that, it's going to go ahead and try to see if your server is available from outside. Of course, it's saying that it's not, and that's because you have to go back into your router. Again, this is what I was talking about before. You have to go back into your router and forward this port 32,400 in your router and point it to your server. In my case, my server's IP address is 10.0.10.2. Once that's done, you can go ahead and click on retry. And what you're going to want to see is just internet will not be grayed out. You'll see a green arrow here that's going to your public IP address, and then this green arrow is going to stay here also and pointing to your server's IP address. So I wanted to just go ahead and take some time to explain that part, just because it can be a little confusing when you're setting up Plex for the first time and wondering why you're not able to access your server remotely. Now you might be asking, so when I'm outside of the house then, how do I actually access Plex? And the quick answer to that is you go into plex.tv, you sign in with your credentials, you sign in with your plex.tv account, and it will actually show you all of the servers that you're able to access. Let's see if I can actually get that working right now. So if I go here, go to plex.tv, and then you get this open Plex. So if you open it, it'll log you in. You can select your users, and you're in. You've got your library here. This says Wikflix right here. That's one of my servers. But when you actually go into yours, especially if this is like your first server that you've created, it'll have your library. And there you have it. It's actually not very hard to do. There's just other steps that you have to follow. I will try to go ahead and possibly do like a write-up on how to do that for those of you that like to, go step by step with instructions instead of following along through a video. I apologize for any of the technical difficulties. You're probably not going to know about them once I edit this, but it was fun. It was great to do this tutorial with you guys. Leave in the comments if you actually do install Plex Media Server on your server. Now, Plex Media Server isn't only able to be installed on Unraid. You could even install it on Windows. You can install it on a Linux box. You can actually go ahead and install it on a NVIDIA Shield. Also other NAS boxes, like the Synology NASs that you can find in other stores. You can actually even run a Plex Media Server on a Raspberry Pi. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. It'll really help the channel out. And also, if you enjoy this content, please go ahead and subscribe down below as well. Hit that notification bell icon so you know when we upload new videos up to the channel. And until next time, you guys, have a good one, and I will see you next time. Peace.